Good morning. I'm Rich Wilkerson, and this is my Monday morning video podcast entitled That's Rich. Today is a beautiful day because today I'm sharing the final chapter in my new book entitled Pray, Focus, Work, Repeat, The Christian's Guide to Mental Health. This book is the second in a 3-book series on the challenge for many people in the world today concerning mental health. I believe this book is a way to get a handle on your minute-by-minute thought life. When you do, you have discovered a pattern to stronger mental health. When you pray, God gives you the path forward. Once you have the path forward, you then must focus on the path and not be distracted from your pursuit to stay on that path. Once that is in play, now you must work, W-O.R.K, to see the path secured. And finally, once there, you repeat that way of doing life over and over again. Now, this pattern, I believe, strengthens your emotional makeup till you go to heaven. Really. For the past 3 weeks, we've been on the final 4th section of the book, and it is repeated. I've said first, it's a long road. Second, some will leave you. Last week, I encouraged you to keep planting good stuff, but today in our final session, I'm going to try and answer the question, are we there yet? I'm sure many of you who are watching are like me in this way. You may have already raised kids or are raising them, and while going on a journey in the car, like to Disney World or Washington, D.C., or another state to visit grandma and grandpa, you've heard your child say, "Are we there yet?" I can remember as a boy driving to my grandparents' house, which at that time was a 3-day drive from Florida to Ohio. Finally, we would arrive and we kids would be thrilled. But every 100 miles or so, one of us along the way would ask my dad, "Dad, are we there yet?" On this journey known as life, I must tell you that I've asked the Lord at least a gazillion times, "Are we there yet, Lord?" For an adult, that question is usually about our purpose on earth. For me personally, I will give you my testimony. In my life, every time I have finished a major part of my life's calling and was about to sit back, in prayer, a new fresh word from heaven got me off the couch and back to work. So there was never a break. Before I explain that, let me give you a wonderful passage of scripture. It's found in Hebrews chapter 12, verses 1 through 3. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of faith. For the joy set before him, he endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Consider him who endured such opposition from sinners, so that you will not grow weary and lose heart. This passage of scripture tells us that Jesus' purpose was not complete until he finished his life on earth and was seated at the right hand of his Father in heaven. Now, people can do what they want, but those who call themselves followers of Jesus can rest and must rest, but never retire while still alive. The medical numbers are not good for retirees that leave work to sit. The truth is, those who do are potentially losing years here on earth that they could have spent serving the Lord in some mission. The reason our kids wanted to get there is because they had some kind of mission they had conjured up in their minds once they got there. They were certainly not wanting to get there in order to go to bed for the rest of their lives. No. They wanted the fun of going fishing or to the beach or to see grandpa and grandma or uncles and aunts and especially cousins. In other words, little kids had such a mission that they wanted to get out of that car and get to it. When a person quits, they're saying, I'll decide when I get there. Now, I know I'm in the winter years of life, but I must tell you, every mission that God has entrusted me with has led me to this place in life where, to be honest, I believe that the next 20 years of my life, with the Lord's help, I'll be able to reach more people for Jesus than ever. I believe I'll reach more in the future than I ever have in my whole life combined till right now. Now, why am I saying that? Well, I just don't think we should ever quit till we go to heaven. General William Booth, the founder of the Salvation Army, said on May 9th, 1912, in his final speech before 7,000 Salvationists at the Royal Albert Hall in London, England. I've been there. He said this: while women weep as they do now, I'll fight. While children go hungry as they do now, I'll fight. While men go to prison, in and out, as they do now, I'll fight. While there is a poor lost girl upon the streets, while there remains one dark soul without the light of God, I'll fight. I'll fight to the very end. 3 months after this speech in August of 1912, at the age of 83 and blind, Booth would be promoted to glory from his home in London, England. The army announced the next day in the papers, the general has laid down his sword. More than 40,000 people attended his funeral, including Queen Mary at that time. It was then that General William Booth was finally there. Are we there yet? Yes, he was there. If you're watching this video podcast and possibly asking, are we there yet? My answer to you at the end of this book is a very emphatic no.